think the reason why sports has been so valuable in a lot of people's development ages through like middle school, elementary school, and high school, and then like once it's gone and they go on to college and they're no longer an athlete, or they leave college and if they don't like make it to the league, and then sports kind of just gets cut out of their life. I think the main value in that, and the reason why people feel a little bit empty or lost when they don't have that anchor of sports anymore, is because it teaches you so much discipline. That, looking back on my like high school career, or even from middle school just playing basketball, but even more so when I did track and when I ran / pole vaulted, a lot of the things that it teaches you subconsciously are not just, how to run fast or how to shoot a basketball well. A lot of it comes down to fundamental parts of building your discipline. And so one of the main reasons that I saw when I just kind of found when I was trying to, when you're going off on your own and when you no longer have sports and you're not competing anymore, so you're not really taking it super seriously or as seriously as you were when you were competing. Say if you go to lift weights or you go for runs and you're just training on your own, there's a different type of responsibility and accountability that you hold yourself to. Granted, you could learn to develop like extreme accountability, but one of the huge benefits of participating in a sport, and especially like a team sport, I know that solo sports you do have coaches and stuff, but for team sports, as far as they go, you have 2 or 3 forms of accountability, 2 of them being external and 1 of them being internal. If it's a team sport, you have your teammates who hold you accountable, especially even at practices and especially during games. If you guys are all competing together, they want to see you putting in your best effort and providing the most results to the team. Your coach also wants to see that same thing, and then you yourself want to hold yourself to a high standard in order to execute well for the team, to compete well. So there's 3 forms of accountability that you're getting just by being on a sports team. And aside from that, when you're kind of competing on your own or just training on your own and developing on your own, you don't really have that accountability externally. Sure, you could kind of find like an accountability partner, a workout partner that will participate in these workouts with you and train with you, but you kind of have to go out of your way to establish that. You don't just go out to train and then you have accountability partners and buddies there with you. Whereas on a sports team, you just show up to the team or you make it past tryouts, and then every time you show up at a practice, you have a number of people who are trying to support you. So that's why it's a lot harder when we transition away from the sports and the team aspect of competition and development. And another thing I think that helps with sports is it's building your discipline because of, again, building on top of the external accountability that you don't want to let down your teammates, you don't want to let down your coach. That coach is someone who basically acts as your discipline for the time being while you build up your own. So the thing that made me think about this today was when I was going for my run, and after my run, at least when I was doing my pull-ups, I was at the local track and I saw a guy who was by himself and he was just doing speed work. So he's doing like repeat 200s, it looks like, repeat 200 meters. So he would run 200 meters, pause for a little bit, and then run another 200 meters, pause for a little bit, and then keep doing that continuously. And in a track team, if you're at practice doing those, because I've done those before, you would have 2 groups. The track team would be split up in 2 groups. One would be on one side of the track, the other would be on the other side, or 3 groups actually. 2 would be on one side of the track, the other one would be on the other side of the track. And then the group with 2, one of the groups would run over their 200 meters and then tag the other group that's standing there waiting, and then they would run, and once they get to the other side, they would tag the other group, and it's basically, they call it like a slingshot. So when you're participating in those things, you don't really have a choice, right? The only thing that could kind of get you out of doing those things or taking a longer break would be if you're having like an asthma attack or if you're like throwing up on the sidelines. So other than that, you're kind of locked into doing the workout if you show up to practice that day, which is really, it sucks in the moment, especially when you're running and when you're looking into the workout, when you're sitting there and then the coach tells you, all right, guys, we're doing repeat 200s today, or we're doing slingshot 200s. Then you're like, fuck, I really do not want to do this, right? Because it sounds like it sucks, and it definitely does suck, especially when you're doing it. But that acts as discipline. That is literally a metaphorical representation of what discipline is. You sit there and you force yourself, but even though you're not really forcing yourself to do it, your coach is making you, if you're at practice, do the repeat 200s, right? So in that sense, by doing the repeat 200s, even though you would much rather just go home and sit on the couch and watch Netflix or binge out and play video games, everybody in their right mind probably would prefer just taking it easy and going home. But the fact that you show up to practice and then you're going to do the repeat 200s because your coach is telling you to do them, that inherently builds your discipline no matter what, because you're doing things regardless of how you're feeling, right? You're doing things that are counteractive to your feelings. If you followed what your feelings were saying, then you would just go home, go watch Netflix, sit on the couch, go play video games. But the active act of going against what you're feeling in the moment and doing those repeat 200s is what builds your discipline. And then when you don't have that, and you don't have that external accountability, and your own internal voice isn't strong enough to say, hey, we're going to do this workout, even though there's no external accountability for it, then it's really hard to really follow through with your goals and to follow up on things. And that's kind of the experience that I've been having recently, is it's hard for me to execute on the things that I'm putting out for myself just because I don't really have that external accountability. I literally could slack off and sit on my phone for 8-9 hours a day instead of going outside and going for a run, which literally maybe takes 20 to 30 minutes at max, which is actually crazy to think about because it seems like such a daunting task. Like, oh, I don't want to have to fucking go for a run, to put on all my clothes because it's cold out, and then I have to go run for like 2 miles. But if you're running at even a 10-minute pace, 2 miles will literally only take 20 minutes. And then that's literally 20 minutes out of your day where you spend 9 hours sitting on social media. Anyways, that was like a little side tangent, but that's kind of what I've been experiencing lately, is it's hard to keep myself accountable, especially without that external motivation of a coach or teammates who are holding me to a certain standard. So I'm trying to currently develop my own internal voice, get my discipline back to a level where I'm able to execute on goals that I set out for myself. That was more of more of a personal introspective look there rather than giving advice. But if you're feeling that same way, hopefully this resonates with you. If you've participated in team sports or played on a team in high school or in college or in middle school, and you've experienced the same thing where once it's gone, once you're no longer competing, then you're kind of lost, then I hope this video made a lot of sense to you. But that's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Remember to stay on target.